Hey guys, welcome back to Boho Jewel. So if you saw a few weeks ago, I posted an embroidery kit that I had found on Amazon and I really enjoyed it. So I actually found this little kit for like $7, I think it was. So I'll see if I can find a link for it and post it below. I got it from Hobby Lobby. So I just thought it was cute and I kind of enjoyed how the stitches looked on it. So I thought I would check it out and share it with you guys as I'm checking it out. So it is by Leisure Arts, and the designs are all apparently by a woman named Alora Gushu. So I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. So apparently she just creates all these cute designs, and I thought it was kind of fun. So I want to learn some new stitches with this. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was something I would really get that into, but I found it actually kind of relaxing, something soothing to do. So here is the instruction sheet, the little pamphlet, so that's kind of nice, and it has everything, all the little steps, even on how to unloop or how to undo the hoop and get all of that started, and then how to do the stitches. So let's take a look at this. So here's our little hoop, so we're going to loosen that up a little bit. Just a nice little hoop. We'll take that apart, and here's our embroidery thread. So I like these colors. These are the kind of colors I enjoy. I like the neutrally woodsy, autumny type of colors, so this is right up my alley. So it does come with those, and it's got the little needle on the back. And then here is our sheet. Okay, just like that. All right, so what we're gonna do first is we are going to put this, let's see, let me see if I remember this. I did it backwards. So we're going to put this little hoop, the little hoop there. We're going to center this pretty well. Lay that down, kind of see that through there, and then we're going to put our hoop on top. I'm not sure if I got it in the right direction. Let me put it more in the direction that it is on the photograph so that it makes a little more sense, which I think is that way. Yeah, I think it's more like that. So we can kind of see the hoop through there, and then we're going to put this one on top just like that. Push it down. I didn't open it too much, so it actually is nice and snug. And then we're going to just tighten the screw back up again a little bit. So I think it's a cute pattern. I'm really digging this. I want to learn a few more embroidery stitches and see how I can get creative with it. So you guys let me know in the comments how you feel about embroidery, if it's something you'd like to learn more, if it's something that you do. I'm just getting ideas like, oh, I could create designs and patterns and it could be fun. So that's my creative brain working. All right, so I think that's nice and snug. All right, so I'm going to take a look over here at these instructions real quick and take a look at what they say. So yeah, okay, so it says just decide where you would like to begin stitching, refer to the color stitch guide on the reverse side to determine the color. And then it talks about cutting an 18-inch bit of thread. Okay, so here's our stitch guide. So we have right here, oh, well, that's a little strange to me, but we will figure that out. Oh, okay, I see. So we have right here, it gives the example, like this is the satin stitch and that's the dark green. Okay, so that's the way the color chart works. And then this one right here, that sort of orangey color is going to be the peach color. But I'm not sure what color that is. So that's a little, so we'll have to figure that out. Okay, so I guess maybe it goes in order. Okay, so that's what I'm going to assume. So we have the brown, which are all denoted by the blue marks here. So that's the brown. So then I'm guessing this is the peach. This must be the blush, the green, and the dark green. But then I'm not sure what these are for. So I'm going to take a little bit of a closer look at these instructions, and then I will meet you guys back here. Okay, guys, so this is a little weird. So as I looked through this, like the instructions, basically, like you have your stitches right here, which this is kind of an interesting one. I'm excited to get into that, but it doesn't really explain too much as far as the color. So here's what's strange to me. So if you look at this, the brown is supposed to be all the blue places, right? Which is actually this brown right here. And then this color right here is the cream, and it does say to use the 6 strands of cream to work French knots in between the flowers. So if you're looking at the kit, that's the last thing that we're going to do. You just kind of randomly work some French knots in between the flowers. But now here is where it gets a little strange to me, because the brown here in the accents, okay, that makes sense, the darker color, and there's not a lot of it. But then color-wise, then this would be the peach, right? And this would be the blush, because looking closer at these are actually both the same color. I thought maybe there was a subtle difference, but looking at it, they're the exact same color. So, but then that doesn't really match up with what's happening on the photograph either, because this is supposed to be the blush and this is supposed to be the peach. So anyway, somehow this is a little confusing. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by the photograph, and I'm going to use the colors that I see here and the stitches that I see here. It does explain how many strands to use. So for the woven wheel stitch, I think we're going to try that one first because that's something new and I'm excited to try it. We're going to use 6 strands, and it says doubled, but that seems like an awful lot to me. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to work that in there, but I am going to try. So let me go ahead and pull one of these. I'm going to use this because that's the color it shows in the picture. And we will go ahead and do that. So with the floss, with the embroidery floss, each strand, I guess it won't be so bad. I'm just thinking back to the last project I did where it was a lot to work through with that. So each strand actually has, or each sort of piece of floss has 6 little strands. Let me see if I can separate that for you guys so you can see them. So each one is 6 strands. So is that going to get blurry? Yeah. So for this one, we're going to leave the 6 strands, and I'm just going to fold this in half to keep life simple since we're doubling this up. So I'm just going to get the 2 ends together, just like that. And I'm going to pull my little needle from here, which is a teeny tiny little needle. So that's an itty bitty needle. I'm going to see if I can get that through there. And if not, I quite honestly might just, that's a really little eye of the needle. You guys can see that it barely shows up. There it is. So let me see if I can get that through there. And then if not, I may just use one of my needles from the other kit I got. Let's see, this should be fun. Yeah, that is not going to happen. Okay, so there is no way I'm going to get that to work. So I'm going to go grab one of my other needles. I will be right back. So I got another needle, and it's also an embroidery needle, so it's nice and sharp on the end. But I don't know how well you can see, but the top of that one, the eye of that one, see if I can get it from being blurry, is just a little bit wider to be able to get all those strands through. And this is just, I've had this for so long, I honestly don't even remember where I got it, but I will look it up and see if I can find this. I'm not sure if they even make them like this anymore. I've had this for years and years before I ever even had a clue what all these little needles were for. I can't even remember why I have this actually, but it's kind of handy. So I'll see if I can find that for you guys. So I have that threaded. I'm just going to put a little bit of a knot at the bottom here. I almost feel like we don't even necessarily need a knot, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a little knot at the bottom so we don't have issues. So now this fabric is way thinner than the one that I used in my other video, so it's going to be kind of nice to play around with this fabric as well. So the woven wheel stitch. So I'm going to look at these instructions. So basically we're starting at the top of one corner of the wheel, and we're going to pull that through in theory. That's what I was wondering. This fabric is so thin. I don't know if it's gonna like let me get all that yarn through. It is just not wanting to come through. And it's possible that maybe the needle is too big. There we go. Oh my gosh, that yarn is really, that's like, I feel like that yarn is beating up. So let me see if I can get this through again. If maybe the needle is too thick, maybe I am going to have to figure something out with a smaller needle head. I just don't know how I'm going to get it through that yarn. Yeah, so I don't think, maybe that's why they packed it with such a teeny tiny needle, with the eye being really small. Okay, So we're just going to do that around. So let me see if I can get it on that smaller needle, you guys. So this is the experimentation that happens with these things, right? This is how we learn. This is how we figure it out. I just don't see how that's all going to go through there. Let me see. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, so I don't know if there's some magical way to make that happen, but I could not make it happen. I don't think doubling the strands is going to work. So what I did, I actually just went to using the 6 strands. I did manage to get it on this little teeny tiny one, okay? But trying to get the double strand through there, unless there's some magic, a wizardry, sorcery, I don't know about, just not going to happen. Also, it's been a lot easier to pull it through here because I tried just pulling this through. I think it was the double strands that were kind of causing a problem as well. So anyway, so I'm just going to go all the way around, kind of counterclockwise, and it's still kind of tough to get this little needle through. But I feel like it was just killing the canvas to pull those double strands through. So, and I feel like it's almost overkill a little bit, but we'll see. I'm just going to do it this way. Hopefully the creator of this project doesn't get offended, but you know, we're just playing here. not that she would be watching my channel or anything anyway, not for nothing. You know, obviously they were able to make it work for the picture. So, maybe it's just me. It's possible that it's just me. I'm just beginning with this as well. All right. Oh my goodness, it's so tough to get this through, especially down that center. Okay, so now we're back to the front, and I'm just working clockwise because that just makes sense to me. Okay, so then, oh, where'd you go? So we already had a hole in there from earlier. I'm wondering if this is like a linen. I'm not sure what the fabric is. Don't think it says. Yeah, it doesn't say specifically. Okay, so we're going to work you back through there. And clearly, if you guys have any embroidery tips, I am all for hearing them. Good grief. So it seems like the more yarn that's on there, that's making it tougher too. All right, so let me pull this tight a little bit again. I feel like we're getting a little soggy right there. So now to create this loop, let me take a look at this again after all of that. So now we're basically just weaving it through. Okay, and I think, yeah, so everything came through the back. So somehow we have to come back through the front and we're just going to weave it through. So I'm just going to start maybe right there next to that where we put all of the rest of them in. And we're going to do a little woven wheel. So it looks like you just, so I'm going to start by going over this strand and then we're going to weave it underneath this one. Turn it a little, go over this one, so kind of skip this one and then go under the next one. Oh, and get it stuck around our little twisty thingy. Okay, there we go. And then again, just skip that one and go through this one. So I guess it's not going to look as fluffy as it does on the picture, so we're just going to do that all the way around. So it won't look as fluffy, but I can't for the life of me figure out how to get that through there. This is a lot. I almost wonder if I could double it up now with a larger needle. You know, maybe not for the initial stitches trying to get it through the fabric because I just couldn't even get it on there. But I wonder if I took it now and just doubled up the strands with a larger eyed needle and kind of did this part with that, you know, once I get it through that fabric. That would kind of make sense to me because we really just, oh, I did it again. We really just need it to have that kind of that foundation to work around, right? So we're skipping over that one. Okay. Seriously, you guys, if you have tips, let me know. Because I feel a little lost with this. Yeah, I think they definitely double stranded it. So I may try that with another one. Okay, so let me finish this little guy up. So I tried to fast forward that for you guys because I thought it would be boring to watch me just go around in circles. So I hope it didn't make you dizzy. But what I ended up having to do, because you saw me kind of pulling through with the larger needle, I had a spot that looked like it was kind of coming up and unraveled. So I tried to pull it tight and it just sucked the whole thing in on itself. So what you saw me doing with the dull needle, that was a different needle without the pointy end, was just trying to loosen that back down again. So I think if you just kind of hold this a little bit as you're going around, that'll help. And then I ran out of yarn, so I tied another knot on the back. I just pulled it through and now I'm back to the top. So I'm just going to finish. I really think it just needs maybe like run one more round. So just kind of, oh no, and it's getting stuck in things. This is definitely not as relaxing as I was hoping it was going to be. So I'm just going to ignore that. And we're going to skip that one and go through this one. Man. So I might actually go around one more time just because I don't want any of that print showing through. So let's see. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point, you guys. What in the world? Okay. I think I skipped one where I shouldn't. Well, we're learning together, right? Oh my God, look at this kerfuffle. This is awful. This is awful. I'm making a mockery of this. I'm making a mess of it. All right, so we're going to pull that back through a little bit. Okay, there we go. Just very gently, nothing that can't be fixed, right? So we're going to skip that one. I'm going to try to find the underneath of that one. There we go. Without going through any of the yarn on top. So I'm just wondering, like, I feel like you could go around forever, really. Let's see, let's find that other one. So there it is. You see it underneath there? So I think I was not looking in the right place and going through the other yarn. Oh my goodness. I wonder if you guys can hear those sirens. I've got the window open. It's a cloudy, rainy day. But it's nice and cool. Okay. Send blessings to whatever's going on there. Okay. There we go. So I think that might work. If for no other reason. Then I'm not sure. Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. Can you see that? Okay, so we'll go one more round and then I will let it go. And I'm just going to push the needle through the back when I'm done and call it a day on this one. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to finish this up because I'm sure you guys are tired of watching me. See, and look, and as soon as you pull it a little bit tight, you see what it does there? It just, the whole thing just comes in. So I'm going to have to figure out that technique because it's just getting, to me, it's just starting to look bulky without a cause. All right, so we'll figure that out together though. I will be right back, you guys. All right, guys, so here's what I did. So I actually bent the behoozes out of this little bitty needle. Look at that. Can you see that? Can you see how like sad it is? So I got one of my Dritz needles. So we'll see if I beat this one up as bad too. So I managed to do I just did the 6 strands again, like I was talking about doing, and I pulled it through the little star shape. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, like I have my needle still threaded from that, and I'm just going to take this all the way down. Let's see, try to get it even with what's happening here. And I'm just going to twist this around at the bottom a little bit. I just can't for the life of me get a double strand through this tiny little eye. I'm sure there's probably a way to do it. Maybe there's a tool that can be used. Like I said, I am just playing with this, just trying to have a little fun with it, share my journey with you guys. This is looking a little rough. Let's trim that off a little bit so you guys can see my crazy process. So not for nothing. I'm sure the kit's fine. I'm sure this is all fine. I'm sure it's me. So I'm just going to twist this around a little bit. It's kind of nice to know too, right? That none of us are perfect. Like it all takes us a while to learn things. I might pull it down just a little further. And get that wrapped around the bottom, just a little kind of twisted around the bottom, because I think that'll hide once we get all this bulk built up in there. So we're going to skip this one and we're going to go under here. I'm just going to hold that for the moment, keep it in place. Let me get back in the camera. And then we're going to go over this one and under the next one. You guys, I don't know why I'm struggling so much with this. Oh, and it came up. Okay, we're going to see if we can get that tucked under there. Could probably tie a knot with it too, but I almost hate for there to be a knot. So I'm going to try it this way and see if I can get it to cooperate. All right, so under and over. I was looking in the camera too, so maybe that's part of why I lost it. Trying to make sure you guys can see. So I'm going to keep that tucked under. And then we'll see. I think this is going to help build up that bulk to more how it is on the photograph. And see how that ends up looking. So I'm just going to tuck you underneath here. We're going to go under that, kind of over our little tail. And I think once you have all those stitches on there, you probably don't have to worry about it coming loose. See, that's going to cover that little tail just fine. And quite honestly, I'm almost thinking it looks just as good with just the one strand. I don't know that it makes a huge difference, but I could be doing this totally wrong too. So don't be mean in the comments. I'm doing my best. But if you do have some experience with this, I am happy to hear feedback. Constructive feedback, kind feedback. I'm trying, you guys. Oh, there we go. Now it's starting to bulk up nicely, right? Yeah, so now I'm kind of getting the hang of this and the flow of it. The only thing I ever knew of embroidery before, like growing up, it was like cross stitch, you know. I think I was in maybe 5th grade, and my grandma from my dad's side had sent me like a couple of little cross stitch kits, and I enjoyed it and I liked it, but they didn't have a ton of instructions. Nobody really knew how to do it either, so I was always kind of trying to figure that out for myself. And I know now, looking back, I did everything completely wrong. So that's how we learn. Sometimes we have to make those mistakes to figure out what's up, right? So that does look pretty, but I really honestly feel like even just the 6 strand is fine too. I don't see a huge difference. I guess it is kind of, it's more defined maybe with the double strand. So I think either way, I think if you struggle with the double strand, it'd be okay to just do the 6. I mean, quite honestly, when you're doing something like this for yourself, however you want to do it, all right? Like, it's just for you. Okay. And I know, I think I mentioned this before, like if you ever do kits like this and you want to gift them to someone, that's totally fine. I know on my channel, I talk a lot about selling at craft shows and things like that. Haven't in a while, but hopefully the craft shows will start again and I'll have some new tips for you guys. But you can't sell kits like this. It's kind of an ethical situation. It's a copyright situation. So you can gift something like this to anyone. You can hang it on your wall. You can enjoy it. See if we can look underneath here and find that one. But you can't sell it because it's someone else's design. So, and you wouldn't want someone selling your design. Okay, so that looks pretty nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this right here with my thumb, and I'm just going to wherever I can get that needle in, because I don't want to pull this too tight, because like we saw in this one, it is just going to pull straight up. Oh gosh, see, even just pulling that needle through, you can always kind of loosen it back up again. This turns out, as excited as I was about this, this is not going to be one of my favorite stitches ever. All right, and I did not leave enough thread because I was talking. Blah, 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 blah. All right, but I think that'll be okay. It's going to have to be okay for now. I'm going to cut it this way. And actually, I think, oh my goodness, it's a full moon tonight, you guys. I wonder if that's why I'm feeling so clumsy. I may just go ahead and tie a little knot right there. All right, so this needle is not beat up and bent up yet. So that's kind of cute. I kind of like it. It's a fun little stitch. I think it's a stitch that I would like doing on thicker fabric. So I don't know, like if you're a beginner like me, this could be frustrating really quickly. So I'm going to thread another bit of yarn and we'll come back and try one of the other stitches. So I'm using this green now. I tied a little knot at the end of my yarn, and this is going to be a satin stitch, which is also using all 6 strands. I guess we could stay up in this area, right? And so the satin stitch is pretty simple. So basically, let's see, I wonder where we should start on this. Let's start up here at the point. I think is a good place to start. So again, 6 strands, so the entire strand of yarn. All the way through. Probably could have cut that a little shorter. So now the satin stitch, because we want to get that curve. I don't want to, I guess we'll go down to the longest part where it's going to make sense here to try to keep that roundness. So the satin stitch, you're basically just going back and forth. I can get this pulled through. Pull it a little snug. Okay, so now you can see that gap right there. So I'm just going to try to fill in that gap. I'm going to go kind of close, not necessarily exactly in that same space I just came through. And it's just straight stitches all the way up and down. And go right there next to that. Give it a little bit of that curve feeling. There we go. So that gives it more of a curve. So then I'm going to go back up here. Again, not in the same stitch necessarily, but just kind of really close to it. I hope that's close enough to see on the camera. Let's see. Let me turn it this way a little. Might be a little easier. I feel like I'm getting more light that way. And then I'm going to go right next to this one. So again, not in the same stitch, but right next to it. Like right next to it. And the nice thing about this is if you do get a little too far away, you can either take the stitch out or you can always go back over. So, and then we're going to go right down here again. Oh, am I trying to, you guys, I don't understand. It's a full moon, so I'm just going to blame it on the full moon. So I'm going to pause and fix this mess that I'm creating and be right back again. So I saved it. So here we are. We came right through there. And we're going to go right straight back down. So it's just kind of going straight back and forth. I feel like, oh, are you kidding me right now? Okay, so I'm not sure what is happening here. How crazy is this? Do you see how my needle just broke in half? Okay, you guys, so this is one of those videos where I feel like I should just delete it and start all over again or not have it happen. But I also feel like this is a great way to show you guys that anyone can have a YouTube channel, right? Like these things do happen. How crazy is that? I have never had that happen before, ever. So I'm going to very carefully discard this, okay? I think you get the idea. The satin stitch, we're just going to kind of go back and forth. I may get another needle and try to finish that one for you. And then I'm going to show you how to do a French knot. And then we're going to call it a day with this because that's basically all we're doing here. These are satin stitches. These are satin stitches. These are all the wheel stitch. And then I'll show you how to do a couple of French knots. But like, what the heck? Is this thing cursed? Like, did somebody put a curse on it in the store before I bought it? All right, guys, I'll be back yet again. So I'm going to be brave and I'm going to try to finish this for you guys. I'm a little nervous now. I don't know what's happening. I might have to like go cleanse my aura or so. I don't even know what's going on. I'm just talking now. Like, all right, so we're going to finish these satin stitches. So this is actually working through pretty well, this needle. So maybe things are okay now. Like, this is one of those times where like anything that could go wrong, it has been going wrong, right? Like what in the world? Like, let me know. I've never, ever had a needle break like that. Like I actually worked in a factory for a short time. Well, maybe about a year when I was younger, and a needle broke in a sewing machine, and that was terrifying. And I could feel like a tiny piece pop off of my eye, which was really terrifying. And that was my last day working there because that was not the, it just wasn't a good environment. And that was kind of my last straw. So anyway, so here we go. So you can see how I'm just kind of making the stitches shorter, just kind of meeting it on the edges where it's supposed to end, and that gives you that sense of that roundness. So see, I'm going to do just one more right here because I feel like that looks a little too flat, although maybe I shouldn't press my luck. So I'm going to scoot that out of the way just a little bit. Good grief, it's been a pretty good day so far. I don't know what is happening. Like, and then I'm going to meet that one back there. All right, it's making me doubtful if I want to finish this or not. Okay, there we go. Oh, a little piece came through. Okay, we'll work on that. We'll unnoodle that in a minute. There we go. I'll just cut that off. I'm just cutting that off. I'm not trying to make anything else more complicated than it has to be. There we go. All right, and so then you can just kind of, since these are all in the same sort of area right here, just kind of work around to these as well. So I'm going to leave this hanging here in case I do decide to be bold and brave and actually finish that. So good grief. So I think I will show you. So it does say for the little bits right here, the brown. So the brown, where did it go? So this, it's just a straight stitch with 2 strands. So I will show you how to do the 2 strands. I'm going to tuck this in here because I don't want that to get lost. So we have our dark brown right here. I'm going to pull that off of the cardboard and pull one of these loose. So if it calls for just 2 strands from your thread, what you're going to do, I'm just going to cut a piece off because I could just see a tangle in my future with the way this is going. So again, remember I showed you how it's made up of different strands. So I'm just going to find 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to gently pull them apart. I'm going to try to keep them from getting tangled. Today's not the day, right? Clearly. Clearly. Just kind of pull it and smooth it out, I find, is the best way. So you're not fighting it. You don't want to just like rip it apart and pull it apart, because then it definitely will probably get tangled. Definitely, probably. That's definitely, probably, definitely. Okay, now that's a way easier to get through there. Hopefully this needle continues to like me. And I'm going to put a double knot in the bottom of this. Well, actually, I don't think I need to. I'm just going to put one little knot and see how that goes, because this fabric is so thin, so that should be enough to hold it, but we will see. So we see where right here, it just shows that single or that straight stitch, single stitch. Now I'm talking crochet. So I'm just going to take this right here at the bottom, somewhere toward the middle, trying to remember where it was and go by where it was on the picture, or where it is on the picture, just right through there. Whoop. And then straight down, and that's it. Really, really simple. And I will actually show you guys, since we have a little bit over here. So same thing here, this is brown as well, so you just do your straight stitch. Since this is curvy, before that becomes an incident. So since this is curvy, I'm just going to go kind of where I see my points right here. I feel like that's going to kind of cover it more, because you can't really straight stitch something along a curve, right? And then I'm going to go up here. Okay, so this is actually more like a running back stitch, but this is how I'm going to get those curves. So pull that up, and then I'm going to meet it back where it was, straight through the same space. And then I'm going to do that again. So I'm starting a little ways up from it, and just like I said, kind of on the corner, and we're going to fill those little leaves in with straight stitches as well. Oh, wobbles, and then back through here. So that's going to give it sort of a seamless feel and a seamless look to it. And so then the last one, sorry, my camera keeps wobbling. There we go. All right. See, things don't have to be perfect in life. They don't have, this video is the prime example of that. Maybe that's a lesson I needed to learn today. Maybe that was something I needed to learn today. So that gives you that that nice little curve. And then I'm just going to tie this off in the back. So to tie it off, I'm just going to go underneath a couple of stitches. When you have pieces with more stitching in it, you can just kind of run it through a couple of stitches. I'm going to loop that. Oh, where are we? And then loop this back through just to give it a little security and a little tiny tug. And boom. All right, so I'm going to thread my needle. I'm going to show you guys how to do a French knot, and then I'm calling it a day with this. So I'm just going to put a little knot at the bottom of my thread. There we go. So this is the cream, and it's, again, 6 strands. Look at how this is moving around. I don't know that I'm like a huge fan of this stitch. I don't know. I might have to play around with it a little more, but I don't like that it's flopping around and you can see the pattern underneath. I don't know. Okay. I give up at this point. But so I hope you guys are entertained by this video. If nothing else, I really do. I hope it's like bringing you some amusement. So you can see, basically you would do the French knots, I think, after you have everything else completed, because you can kind of use them as a filler and overlap some of the other spaces. So, but you know, it's yours, so you can put them wherever you want to and scatter them around if you feel like as well. But it's cute. I guess it's supposed to be like a little baby's breath kind of thing. So I'm just going to show you guys. Let me see. I think right here, I'm just going to go some of these places where I can see this pattern, I think is as good a place as any to do a French knot or two. So I'm just coming up through my fabric. All right, and I'm going to see. Hopefully you guys can see this well enough. So what I'm going to do, because I have to put this down, so I'm going to take my thread, kind of pull it over, okay? So you see how it's kind of pulled over? And then I'm going to put it really close next to, how many hands do I have? Let me see if I can move this down just a little closer so you guys can see that a little better, because I am going to have to pick it up, so I don't want to wobble you back and forth and make you seasick. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to take this. I'm going to put it over top, just loop it around one time like that. And then I'm going to put my needle like kind of right next to where I made my space. Not right back through, but right next to where I made my space. So here's the trick with this. I'm going to hold this to make sure my knot doesn't come loose, but you don't want to hold it too tight, because if you hold it too tight, you end up with a really tight, teeny tiny knot, and you don't get that that kind of effect, that three-dimensional effect that you're going for with this, as I struggle with this flip and flapping needle again. All right, so you see how that loop right there, it creates the knot for you. So you just want to gently now pull your thread through. So I kind of figured this out on my last project, because if you pull it too tight, you don't get the pretty knot shape. So now you have that pretty three-dimensional knot, and that's what gives it the shape. If you pull it too tight, it just goes flat down, and you won't get that same sort of floofiness. So I'm going to do one more. Golly. All right. Promise I'm not really weak. Pretty strong. All right. So, and then just to bunch them up next to each other, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to wrap it around. So I did this, I came through a little bit, you know, a little bit close to that one. I'm going to wrap it over. I'm going to go right here next to where I made my, where I came through. Hold this gently, just kind of hold it gently right here and pull that through. Oh. Feel other threads back here. Oh, that was my other knot. Okay. And then you can sort of stack them up on top of each other a little bit too, so that way that really kind of fills it in nicely. Don't know where the heck this came from, you guys. I promise. Oh, there we go. Okay. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know it's not usually this like madness. It's not this insane. I don't know what's going on. All right, maybe this was just not my project. I think it's a cute project though. Like if I was reviewing this, I'm not reviewing it. They didn't send it to me or anything like that. Like I said, I just thought it would be fun to kind of share with you guys since I am digging the embroidery a little bit and I want to learn a little more. So maybe it's just part of the learning process. Of my learning process right now. So if you guys have hung along this for this entire video and you've been like chilling out here with me watching the chaos, I appreciate it so much. And I promise if you're a new subscriber that it's not always this insane. There we go. That one came out really pretty. All right, you guys. So that's it. I'm going to set this aside. Let me lift you back up a little bit. So I think it's a cute little kit. I think for $7, it's definitely worth trying. I think if you're a beginner, it might feel a little overwhelming, especially if you've never done one before, just because the fabric is a little tough to get through. It's not as some of them have sort of the wider spaces to get to work the needles through, so it's a little easier to figure out at first. But it does have a good visual of the stitches. And it does, explain how to get the loop on, how to finish the knots in the back, all that kind of thing. And it is cute. I think it'll be cute once it's done. I think, I don't know, I might be feeling bold and I might finish it up tonight. And yeah, we'll see. I'll post it on my Instagram. We'll see how it goes. Or I might not be feeling that brave and I might just realize that it's time to call it a day for today, but we'll see how it goes. So thank you guys for hanging in there and watching this with me. Let me know, again, if you have any embroidery tips or even kits that you would recommend for beginners, or books or anything. I'm always looking for quality stuff. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Hang out for the chaos and the fun and the good times. And for all my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much. I'll be posting lots of new videos soon. Weekly. I've been really excited to be posting videos weekly. So we'll see what I feel brave enough to do next week. And if you guys ever have suggestions, as always, leave them in the comments and I'm happy to accommodate. So you guys have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the full moon. Bye.